Welcome back. I managed to knock my little ass off the air. Because that's just the way I work, dudes. So I'm just going to go here and see how long it's taken me to, what time I was, damn, I'm so fucking stupid. You would never believe that. Oh, no. So, what do I have here? Where was I going here? It was only 17 minutes into the show when I knocked myself off the air. Oh, that tells you what type of day I'm having, dude. So, what can I say, At least I was able to go for 17 minutes before knocking my ass off the air. And again, you're listening to At the Table here on netrootsradio.com. Coming to you live from speaker.com because I'm at work actually I'm at lunch. So I've got a little bit more time. And I'm letting my program director know that I knocked myself off the air. So it's so as I was saying before I rudely disconnected myself, got to respect the actor. So got to respect the text. And if we want to go with the concept of politics as theater, then I can't really. I got to say maybe it's more onto improvisation, where. You got your first line, which is uphold the Constitution, and you got no last line to get you out of it. Which brings me to the theater of Goodbye Cruel World, or GBW, GCW, Goodbye Cruel World. And most recently, the most recent person to declare he was leaving in a huff, flouncing out of Twitter, was Mike Huckabee, who didn't like the fact people were making fun of him because, they're being mean to me, where he doesn't quite get that you gets what you pays for, and when you yourself are a vile little twerp, that you should expect it back. And right now, of course, we have that ultimate distraction, which is, what is it? The impotent airstrike, which they deliberately did not target the building where they believed the gas was the sarin gas, the chemical weapons were located. Deliberately did not target that. So we just had it wasn't even political theater. It was like, I am being tough, so now so I can see that I can stand up to Russia, blah, blah, blah. Russia's made noises about cutting off the back channels, and we're going to be ready to shoot your shit down in Syria now. So, we're sending a warship out. It's all show. Nothing's going to happen. Now, it's a point of fact that Prince Brayton is, more loyal to Russia than to the United States, because he informed the Russian Duma, which is their House of Representatives, so to speak, and never informed our Congress. So he informed Putin, who in turn informed Assad, and they moved all the assets that they, we saw a few, destroyed airplanes in the hangars, and, no real damage to the airfield, to the landing strips and everything like that. So it was nothing. It was just, maybe he needed his, few shares of Raytheon to increase in value. You don't know. You don't know, but no, could be, very well could be. Um, but it's everybody's talking about it, and but it was, just a wag the dog situation. So for those of you that don't remember, when in the midst of the Monica Lewinsky thing with Bill Clinton, which um, he bombed what he said what people was a weapons factory, chemical weapons factory in Sudan. They said, "Oh no, it was a aspirin factory, dude. You're making the dog. You're trying to distract us from a blowjob." Monica Lewinsky, and you're impeaching. So this is the same thing. It's trying to deflect from a scandal of proportions, and everybody's talking about how Prince Spraytan didn't need to go to Congress for authority to do this. Well, then neither did Barack Obama, but he went and asked for authorization, and they said no. If he had gone and bombed, retaliated for the 2013 chemical attack, which killed far more people than this attack, usage of chemical weapons, they would have been climbing up his ass all up for it, for not coming to them for approval. But I guess it's because there's a wealthy white guy and not there's a white guy now running the show, that it's cool for him to do whatever he wants, to hell with the foreign and domestic emoluments clauses. He can make money off of this. He can take money out of his trust. He doesn't have to divest himself. He doesn't have to, he can bring his kids in and give them security clearances, even though at least one of them failed to disclose monies paid to him by the Russian government. So, I'm not saying that we got that the White House is completely, our top level of government is completely compromised. But then again, our top level of government appears to be completely compromised. And speaking of compromise, if Trump is going to be, spending all this time at Mar-a-Lago, then they have to do actually create a situation room, and not just use one of the bridal banquet rooms for that, and actually get some gear in there. Otherwise, he's just taking a vacation and not doing anything. And we got all this lovely background noise going on here. Is this? No, let me just take this back. Hang on a second, folks. There, that sounds better. Yeah, no background noise now. Hey. So what you get when you're using a cardioid mic, and you can adjust the field. And the I'm going to try this again, folks. I'm going to see about, let's see if I can, okay. Yes, oh no, I did it. Hey. So I still am there. I just don't see okay, I'm not even going to try going back to the notes I wrote on another application on my tablet, because this is not going to happen. But again, I was saying that Mike Huckabee is still on Twitter after saying, "You're mean to me. I'm leaving. Goodbye. I'm going to delete my account." He's still there. Let's see what we got here. Mike. Oh, look. Mike is still here. And he's still calling himself governor. He's okay. So, okay, I just heard back that I had that my, there we go. There we go. That he's still, he's also trying to be funny. He's had this whole hate on, right? He has a mad at Delta for losing his, because he's not getting star treatment. He's not getting the treatment. He wasn't getting the treatment from Delta as he felt he should have been gotten, because he's actually because how dare the weather delay his flight? He's just so. You know. Yeah, Huckabee hasn't bothered. He's still there. Well, who else is going to listen? He's complaining. He has this long, multiple thread rant about Delta, the weather, and how his luggage was treated. Can't help everything, it's now, I guess, 20 minutes after the hour here on netrootsradio.com, and you're listening to At the Table with Kelly Lincoln. Episode continued. So let's see. What can I say? So let's say I've checked off Hucky, and then we have the poor little froggies who are suddenly finding that their bromance with Donnie is over, because he dared to attempt to punish Assad for gassing his own citizens. I mean, they love the fact that, they love mass murderers, these folks on the right. That's why they love Putin, and you've got all sorts of white, I can't say nationalists. Obviously, if they're nationalists, they're going to be white. Neo-Nazis, they're white. Not even red pill males with attitude, whose mommy and daddy's never taught them how to take responsibility, which includes wiping their own ass and throwing the toilet paper away in the toilet and flushing it. They're having a sad because of Trump's actions, and from the repeal of or the casting aside of the privacy laws regarding ISPs selling your data to advertisers to target you for ads. To the ridiculous, to the lame-assed, bombing of Shayat Air Base. They're just not having a good day with him. They've all broken with him, and especially on Reddit and the Reddit subs and 4chan and 8chan, the guys that claim to have memed him into the presidency, meme warriors. They're just like having the biggest sad of all, because he's turned out just to be another neocon. It's the greatest cuckolding ever. He cucked them all. Now, cuckolding is actually just means a married a woman having a married woman having an affair with a man. It has also come to mean, in pornography terms, a woman getting it on with a non-white man, not her husband. Evidently, these guys love that type of porn because that's how they're referencing it. So you have like David Duke walking away from him, Richard Punchable Face Spencer walking away from him. Everybody's just going, oh no! They're his extremist base has like dumped him. Dude, didn't you know he was going to do that? He's fond of fucking people over who help him. It's his whole raison d'être. It's the whole reason he lives is to screw people over who work for him. Consider it he didn't like the work you did, so he's not paying you the balance. of what he owes you contractually, okay? You know, people are finding out that the wall he wants to build across Mexico will involve taking people's land that they have held for, a century or so or longer if they're, and that they're going to also probably find that their house is going to be on the other side of the wall when they're going to have a special key code to get in and out of their house. So basically they're being moved to Mexico because the wall's not going to follow the border. It's going to cut straight across people's land and, lock people off out of their property. And if you think that that's not going to invite cartels to take over those homes and property on the, in air quotes, Mexico side of the wall, because once they got that house, they can just live there. They can run their, they don't have to worry about the cops because the cops can't get in unless they got the passcode. It's ridiculous. Not going to make anybody safer. It's just, eminent domain is like really it, and people are just like discovering that eminent domain. What do you mean you can just take my land? I can't do that. But folks like the Bundys want to take federal land because they think it's theirs rather than, the American people's. But then again, they're more American than everybody else because they starve their cattle. They don't brand their cattle, don't feed the cattle, and then they blame the BLM for abusing their cattle. So, that's the way it goes. But as I said in the beginning, when that picture, that smirky picture of Trump having dinner with Romney came out, I said, frog legs are good. So, poor Pepe's being amputated at the knees, cut off at the thighs, at the hip, rather. So, I'm going to attempt to do this again. Hopefully, I will not be. Do that. Go back to my. So, seeing what we got here going. So actually right now I know I'm on the air because I'm showing that I'm on the air and live. And I can't hear a damn thing, so it is like so noisy in here. Anyway, I'm going to... see what we got here. Episode 7 here. What we got here? Episode 7 continued, and yes, I'm going to see this. I'm actually just monitoring myself right now with the by doing this. So I might have to put the auto ducking on while I'm speaking. Again, all that background noise is coming from it's actually exceptionally noisy in the Starbucks today, but it might just be because it's really nice out and people are all out. So hang on while I do the... So... No! Stop that. Stop that. I can hear myself. There we go. I don't need to hear myself anyway. I don't need to hear myself anyway, so there we go. I'm going to go back to my... my notes here so I can see what the fuck I'm doing. And, oh, look, we're still live and broadcasting, so where was here? Let's see. Oh, yeah, hanging out. Just before I come into work every day, I like to hang out at the Starbucks, have coffee, and talk to people. I share my table, and I get to talk to some very interesting folks here in New York. This morning, I was speaking with a lovely woman, Iraqi American, and we were talking food and theater and all that other good stuff that you talk about when you're just talking to people. And it was a nice talk, lovely, lovely woman. And then before I left I chatted for a bit with a couple about dogs, because this absolutely beautiful, beautiful male pit bull. I mean, we're talking a really gorgeous purebred. You look like a purebred dog here, beautifully, beautiful, beautiful dog came by, and there's no such thing as there's no inherently vicious breed of dog. It's all about how the owner, the person that is caring for the animal, treats them, and what's important. Treating, you can tell a lot by somebody by how they treat others, by how they treat animals. If they, and veering off of that, we've got, John Glenn passed away a few months ago. He was buried at Arlington National Cemetery, and I watched the Friendship 7. I'm that old. And I watched him go into space and orbit. And that was, without a doubt, one of the most exciting, exhilarating moments in my life. And I was hooked on space. I was hooked on it. Get up in the mornings whenever there was a launch, whether it was the Mercury launches or the Apollo or the Challenger, I was up and watching the launches, or Gemini, or watching the rocket ships take off and orbiting, and just that, it's like, I'm 62, and I just think all the space exploration is so awesome, so amazing, so wonderful that, I don't know how else to talk about it. I always remember that the idea that our first suborbiter, capsule was called the Friendship 7, said so much about how we as America thought about space exploration, that it should be done in cooperation with other nations. And that, that vision has, come to pass somewhat with the International Space Station. Now, Russia now claims that they're going to be, cooperating with China, so maybe, the job of launching supplies into space will come back to America, SpaceX and all that. SpaceX is awesome. I'm just really excited about that. And it's things like SpaceX that makes me wish that I did not have a learning disability in mathematics, because I so wanted to be an astronaut. I so wanted to go into space, but I suck at math, so I'm not. And it's... For me, it's kind of sad, but on the other hand, I still find I don't feel left out, because I still feel a part of it, because I'm there watching it, supporting it, grown up with it. Every day we launch, every day every day SpaceX does a test, whether it fails or succeeds. It's exciting because it's a step forward. It's like, okay, this didn't work. What do we do now to get it working properly And it's exciting. It is so exciting. It's the idea of going into space is exciting. It just, that whole idea, it requires us to become more responsible for our actions and owning up to our errors. Unlike, there's a lot of people that, just cannot seem to admit when they're wrong, because they think, that, it's like fording a river. You don't, if you don't apologize or change a course correction. But if you've ever been sailing, you're aware, if you're going from, say, for example, from Lower Manhattan, from where you get the Staten Island ferry to Governor's Island, if you're sailing at that, you don't sail in a straight line. You can't because of the current. You sail on a zigzag, or what's called a tack. You have to zigzag to go straight across something. And, you know, even if you're fording a river, you still can't go straight across because of the current. You have to actually angle yourself off, you know, against the current, so you can, because you're going to drift past where you want to be. That's what I just love about these westerns that talk about where you see the guys fording the rivers. They don't just do it; they just go straight across, and it's. But there's far too many people who are not willing to take responsibility and just say, "I made a mistake. I screwed up. I fucked up. Oops. What do I do now? Help." Because they see apology as a sign of weakness, or owning up to an error as a sign of weakness. You know, and it's not really. It's weak if you can't apologize. It's weakness if you cannot apologize. You know, so it's when, you know. And speaking of apologies, Passover. We're coming up on Passover. And I don't know about you, but I love to cook. And I've been looking at recipes, you know, wonderful things to do for Passover for a single person. And I'm looking at something like maybe lamb stew, lamb shanks, whatever, you know, a nice bottle of kosher wine for Passover. I'm not going to do the Seder because I cannot chug 4 glasses of overly sweet wine in one setting over the course of an hour or so service. And, yeah, that's actually, you're supposed to, those 4 glasses of wine that you drink at Passover, you're supposed to drink them and supposed to just slug them down. You know, inhale them. All 4 glasses, you do each glass in one shot. So if you've got an 4-ounce glass of wine, you're drinking 12 ounces, like just straight down. So you're going to be pretty leaning to the left to begin with. You're going to be leaning to begin with. And all I can say about that is, oh my God, until they started importing is kosher Israeli wines for Passover, there was nothing better for alcohol aversion therapy than having to slug down 4 glasses of a Concord grape wine, be it Magan David or Manischewitz. You know, you get that really superly sweet wine, and you're just going, oh, dear Lord, why am I drinking this shit? You know, it's not a great wine. It's not the best. It's like too sweet, you know. And then, you know, you've got these great kosher wines coming in from Israel, Carmel, just really, really good. Just got my program manager just asked me a question on Skype, and I'm just like going, I can't do this. I'm brain dead right now, and it is 16:43. Gotta do some quick math here because I think I'm coming up on the end of my show. Yeah, I got another few minutes to go before I am there. Okay. Hang on a sec here. Both will. Makes so much fun here. Multiple things. I'm doing multiple things. Oops. So I just had to tell my program manager where to find the shows. Um, I had actually planned around 15 minutes into the show for a little interlude, but I didn't plan on it being dead air. So I haven't had a chance to add any new music to my iTunes play library on the tablet because I just haven't. Because I'm still looking for stuff I can play on the air without paying royalties for. But going back to Passover, if you've ever had to spend a week eating nothing but matzot, you know how binding it can be on your innards. And so I went looking around for some recipes, things to do with matzah, and I came across what essentially is a flauta with matzot, which was a great little video. It's in Hebrew, but it's a softened matzah. You take vegetables and ground turkey or whatever, or chicken, or ground beef if you want it, and you brown everything up in a pan, get it all nice and everything down. And then you take a soaked matzah, a damp matzah, softened matzah, and place some of this filling into this damp matzah, and then you roll it, and then you brush it with egg, and then you fry that. So you've got your basically a version of a flauta. Yeah, I would say a flauta, or or a burrito or something like that. It's just you just roll it up, you fry it up, and it's all nice and sealed up, and it's golden, and it's looks really good. I'm going to try that for might be snackies. Another thing about making what's called matzah crack, and it's taking matzah, drizzling it with homemade caramel, and baking that, and so it's all melted, all nice and over. And then you take chocolate, and you sprinkle that on top of the matzah caramel thing, and then you stick it back in the oven, and you melt the chocolate on top of that. Then you spread it all out, and then you let it cool in the fridge. And then once it's cooled off, you break it into pieces. Well, you put nuts on it if you, or leave it plain if you're not into nuts. And then you've got your, you got candy, you got a new way to make haroset, Turkish way of making it into little truffle balls, which I'm going to try. It's just all sorts of interesting ways to make your Passover meal more interesting than when we can do it. And we're coming up on 49 minutes after the hour, or 10 minutes before the hour, depending on how you want to look at this thing. And you're listening to At the Table here on netrootsradio.com. And I've been talking about all the foods I'm going to eat at Passover, because that's just the way I am. I'll come up with more stuff. I restarted my class in Ableton because, dealing with Ableton is a lot more involved than I thought it was going to be. And you're not all that musical, or you don't, you're trying to figure out how to play stuff, and you're coming up on an assignment. Then you find yourself going, I think I need to restart this thing. Okay, got this done. Same thing with my script writing class. Fell behind restarting it, so I've got a little bit of a head start. Now I just need to maybe rewrite my log line, resubmit it, get my show Bible done with the characters and all of that sort of thing, and get all of that done. And it's good. It's like, can't do better than free education, I've done things through edX and Coursera and FutureLearn. There's a whole bunch of places out there for you to go if you want to learn something. Right now I'm trying to find the best place to learn, really stupid basic programming, coding. So I'm looking at the places that kids go to learn, and start out being a kid. But I'm going to be a fourth grader and start coding as a fourth grader, and because maybe that'll work for me. So I'm just going to see if anything in my playlist here that I haven't downloaded yet from the tubes. I love Buzz Aldrin so much that I want to play his Rocket Experience because it's just a fun thing for it, and he's very much into getting us off the Earth and onto Mars, and so I'm just going to give you some Buzz Aldrin Rocket Experience.
Buzz, this is Houston. You've got about 10 minutes left now. 10 minutes left now prior to commencing your EVA termination activities. Over.
All you need is the rocket experience. What you need is the rocket experience. All you need is the rocket experience.
To go flying into outer space. See this world as a beautiful place. All mankind, one human race.
I tell a story about my time on the moon now. The sky was black even though the sun shined on. Moonwalking, such a trip, it's so fine when you're walking in the lunar dust. It took us 4 days riding on a rocket to set foot for the very first time. I'm gonna tell you about the meaning of it all. We came in peace for all mankind. Imagine a place above the sky, riding orbits in 90 minutes time. All you need is to come with me. I'll be your guide.
To go flying into outer space. See this world as a beautiful place. All mankind, one human race.
Are you ready to put on your spacesuit? Strap in for the G-force liftoff. Countdown is getting very close now to the adventure of a lifetime. I've been there, now I say it's your turn. All we gotta do is make the engine burn. Let's take a trip on an orbital spaceship. This is how we will reach the stars.
Like I said, I have to get some new music.
No atmosphere here. Make sure that you've got your feet underneath you. Lack of gravity. Lack of gravity. Gravity.
All you need is the rocket experience.
Beautiful view. Magnificent desolation.
What you need is the rocket experience.
Buzz, you're cleared to take off.
All you need is the rocket experience.
Roger, understand. We're number one on the runway.
All you need is the rocket experience. It's all you need.
And as Buzz rides off into the sunset, I'm going to leave y'all with Love, Life, Laughter, coming to you live on tape from Starbucks in New York City, East 87th and Lexington. Stay tuned for Katie Klaubish and Katie Speaks here on netrootsradio.com.